Hello and welcome to 2019. It's the first day report of 2019. I have completely forgotten how to do this.
Come on, come on, into the new year. It's your choice, apparently. Oh man, I don't know. What do you want me to do? You want me to guide you? Because I'm a terrible guide for this.
No, it's cool. First of all, what is this thing I'm talking into?
What?
No, it's just the microphone. Like, I've been using headset mics and, like, really good, like, omnidirectional room mics, but, like, it's weird talking into this again. This is weird for me. So, like, if you hear, like, the little banging of the stand, I'm sorry. I mean, so how do we do this? How does this start?
Well, usually we start by introducing one another.
Oh, I'm
So let's
Siegen
start there.
Sarowick.
Nope. See, already screwed that up. Hold up.
No, I'm
Wait.
Devin Decker.
And you're
And I
and your host
and my host
companion,
companion.
Siegen Sarowick. Hey, everybody, that's me. Look at
Um,
that.
this bit started as like a bit, and then I like legitimately forgot how to fucking do this.
Oh
I feel like
man.
I haven't talked to you. I mean, literally, we hung out for 3 hours last night. That was sobering. That was a sobering thing today when I'm like, how long did I play Destiny 2 with Siegen last night? 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're still in that, right? Not
Yeah.
too much different in 2019 so far.
No. But the last time we actually recorded was the 27th of December.
So long ago.
It was like a year ago almost. It was last
Well,
year. Uh,
almost a year.
it was last year. That was the bit. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this joke. I'm going to make this dad joke. I'm going to be the guy. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, so I'm going to try to remember how to record a podcast in this podcast. That
I
should
hope
be
you're recording
fun.
right now.
Oh, I am. In fact, I wanted this whole discussion we just had should have been off mic. Like, but
Uh-huh.
I'm like, no, I'm gonna hit the record button because it's been so long since we've recorded, and I've missed you. I'll say that. And it's so happy that we're in 2019. And the worst thing about this being the first episode of 2019 is that the Golden Globes happened last night,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like we have to address them. Just like
Sure.
quick,
The little that I know about what happened, I'll be
really,
entirely
really,
honest.
the thing that we need to address is the fact that in our like bullshit slapdash pick the winners thing,
Uh-huh.
we only got two right.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
okay, but part of that comes from the fact that I don't think anybody expected what was going to happen last night. I mean, the little that I do know about the Globes, about what happened this year, is it seems like kind of caught everybody off guard by what
yes,
was going to
I
happen.
don't even think Glenn Close had a speech written, and
No.
then that came out. So she's just like, "All right, I gotta talk." Sort of like what's happening right here. Yes, I did just compare myself to Glenn Close.
Oh man. Oh God. So the biggest thing that came out of last night that I am aware of is Rami Malek winning for Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was curious how you felt about that.
Oh, I
That
totally. That's what I picked on our episode. So
yeah.
that's one of the only ones we got right, with
Yeah.
no formal like training or preparation. Everybody agreed that Rami Malek was going to win.
Yeah.
But the stranger thing is that Bohemian Rhapsody won as best drama,
Yeah, as like a movie. Uh-huh. Yeah, man.
and
Look, I think this is the time that we finally admit that we don't know movies apparently.
dude, like the only reason we talked about the Golden Globes
Uh-huh.
is because on our show, as like a throwaway, we talked about Bohemian Rhapsody and how like it's gonna get nominated for a Golden Globe and it should be happy with its nomination for a Golden Globe. And now like it's looking like a real Oscar contender.
But not because of the quality of the movie. That's the thing that's killing me. Is like nobody is talking about that movie any better than they were before last night. At least,
If
not in the
anything,
24 hours
if
before.
anything, the gloves are off now.
Yeah, right. yeah, now people are more open about the fact that they did not enjoy certain aspects of that film, such as the things that you pointed out, historical inaccuracies and the like.
The
Um,
best part was that, like, I'm very proud of Rami Malek. I'm very proud of this movie. I don't care about the historical inaccuracies. That was a comment I saw
yeah,
in relationship to that movie. Like, someone being like, it's weird that it won. I still think it's weird that it won for best drama and not best comedy or musical.
yep.
Because it's a musical. The last 20 minutes of your movie is a musical performance. A musical performance that is so important that it is the only bonus feature from the Blu-ray they are advertising.
Yeah, it's basically the impetus of the entire movie. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like, at what point do like we're at an impasse now, right? We either go hard into talking about this movie as not being deserving of this Oscar, or we sit back and we reconsider our feelings. And I don't know, man. I don't feel any different. That's the weird part.
Well, like, that's the thing, is that if first of all, if you and I were the kind of people who, just because it got a trophy, we reevaluated our entire view of something, we would have no right to be podcasters. Right? Like, like, we could be politicians, but we
Sure.
couldn't be podcasters.
No.
Because the second we give up, like, what our ideals and our beliefs are, like, if you're coming to listen to this show, I'd like to think it's because you like our energy and you like our opinions and the way that we approach the world. So if we like, well, I guess now I can be honest with you, Sejim. I fucking loved Bohemian Rhapsody. It was a struggle for me to find things not to like about it. Like, no, everyone would be like, okay, so I'm unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Now that there's a chance for, like, some promotional money or, like, sponsorship from Bohemian Rhapsody, because it needs it, I guess, right? Like, I don't know. I have not changed my view of that film at all, except the fact that now I view it as that movie that won 2 Golden Globes, one of which I feel it deserved.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing is as much as everybody's kind of losing their crap right now over what happened last night, we do all have to remind ourselves that it is the Golden Globes, and one of the big things that you and Jeff and I talked about was the fact that the Golden Globes is really kind of the weird, black sheep of the awards ceremonies, right? Like, it is the place where things kind of happen unexpectedly and sometimes undeservedly, and if anything, last night just kind of proved that, right?
Right, but you say that, but at the same time, like, I made that joke about, like, I don't think Glenn Close had a speech prepared. But I think it's great that she won. I wish that I had seen The Wife. I mean, like, was The Wife even out for me to see? Like, that's
Right.
the other thing, is that my father, he's like, how many of these movies were available for us to see in Rhode Island?
Yeah. And I mean, and you say that, like, but honestly, Rhode Island's actually a pretty big film market. Like,
I know that. I'm
like,
fully aware. But
yeah,
that's sort of the thing. Like, him saying
right.
that, it's not crazy. Like, we have a bunch of art house cinemas where, like,
Hmm.
I've seen directors talk about their films. Like,
Right.
they've come to Rhode Island to be like, I'm showing this movie and it means something.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
we're not Boston, but we're also, like, right outside of Boston. But I still can't think of a time when I could have seen The Wife. Like, I
Yeah.
know where I can go see The Favorite right now. I knew where I could go see the Melissa McCarthy one, which I always get the syntax of the name wrong.
uh,
Will you ever
forgive
forgive
me.
me?
Will you ever forgive me? Yeah,
I
forgive
think
me,
that's what it
please, or
is.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you ever forgive me? I
Yeah.
believe is what it actually is, as I've said it wrong twice now. Yeah, like, I knew about those, but, like, The Wife is one where I'm like, I don't know when I could have seen that. And Green Book was out for, like, a week, and that blew my mind. As a
Yeah.
Farrelly brother directed film, that it
Well,
was not available that long in Rhode Island.
yeah, I know, right? Well, and to be fair, it was a weird side project of one of theirs, right? Like, it wasn't like a joint effort on their part, was it?
I don't think I pluralized brothers. I think I said Farrelly brother.
Uh, but I'm just saying, like in
Yeah, you're
terms
right.
of it being
It's
out in
not.
Rhode Island, like
Yeah.
it's not the Providence Golden Boys doing their thing, right? Like it's something different. But that's it's just weird all around, man. Because I feel like this season was going to be weird no matter what. Like the Academy made sure that months ago when they had all of that friggin' hullabaloo about introducing like whole new categories just for Black Panther and then like dialing that back and all that. So like we were already going into this award season feeling kind of squishy, and then all of the stuff that's happened with the host of the Oscars, and then last night nobody was sure what was going to happen with all the movies that were on the docket for that, and then what did happen is kind of throwing everybody for a loop. I just feel like it's not helping anything. Like we're at a point right now in Hollywood with the Me Too stuff that's gone on this year in the last couple of years with all of the stuff that's happened with Black Panther and the ideas of representations and the conversations we've had. This Everything in Hollywood right now, from a cultural standpoint, is up in the air. We don't know where any of this stuff is going to land in the next coming years. And like, I think we talked about this a lot throughout 2018, right? Is just how weird things had gotten in the movie industry for everybody, for fans, for filmmakers, for everybody involved. It's just been a weird time for movies. And I think this award season, I think last night proves this award season is just going to reflect that. And it's just going to be rocky for the next couple of months.
I mean, I don't think anything reflects how weird cinema and film has grown to the fact that so I celebrated my birthday last Friday, the 4th of January, and the plan was it started out as a joke. What we ended up doing started out as a joke that I made because we went to go see Bumblebee, and we couldn't have seen Bumblebee. It was the one before Bumblebee. Whatever movie we saw the week before Bumblebee, I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was Bumblebee. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We saw a movie. Dale and I saw a movie, and the trailers.
Please say Bumblebee like 5 more times, though, please.
I really liked Bumblebee. I forgot about it. Let's talk about how I forgot that movie existed for a second. I wish I could remember what the movie was. It was whatever came out the Tuesday before, because Dale and I joked about this before we recorded our 100th episode. So like, I don't know what movie we saw. Oh, it was not Creed. It was the one that we saw, Robin Hood. We saw this trailer before Robin Hood, which was great. I loved Robin Hood. I'm going to say that again too. And the trailer we saw before Robin Hood was for Escape Room. Now, Dale and my mother's birthdays both were on Fridays in 2018. So both of them had their birthday movie.
Right.
So Dale's birthday movie was Smallfoot. Like, it came out the 27th of September.
Yes.
So we're like, she's like, that's going to be my birthday movie. And then my mother's birthday movie was the afore talked about Bohemian Rhapsody. And for her birthday, we went and saw Bohemian Rhapsody. So then we see this Robin Hood movie, and the trailer before it is Escape Room, and I go, that could be my birthday movie. Because honestly, what else is coming out on January 4th besides Escape Room?
Right.
Like, I'm like, that's it. It's not like you guys who had other options. Like, Dale's birthday movie could have been Night School, but she went with the far superior film. I think we'll all agree. But so I'm like, that could be my birthday movie. And then as I'm driving home and I'm thinking about just how absurd that could be, I'm like, so here's the plan for my birthday. We do an escape room, and then we see Escape Room. And the whole time we listen to the Pina Coladas song, a.k.a. Escape. And that's going to be our escape plan. Oh my God. Thursday night, we watch Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone. And I said this as a joke, right? Like, because I'm like, I don't really want to see that movie. I don't really want to. I've always been against escape rooms. Just because of how they're portrayed in, like, the media and everything.
Right.
But as we got closer, like, that joke became more and more appealing to me.
Oh, my God.
So on Friday, we did an escape room. And then we planned to go see Escape Room. Though, like, that's that.
How did it go?
Well, And then again, this is indicative of where cinema is and how film is weird to me, Devin Decker, right now.
Right.
We went and, well, first of all, we woke up at 6 o'clock so that I could watch my Friday Hackers. I have now watched Hackers every Friday for 2 months in a row.
I am worried about you, man.
But this time I made Dale watch it with me. She dug it. You're going to hear about that on Say Report Jr., I think. And then we had Doughboys. We had homemade Doughboys for breakfast. Got in the car and went to this escape room. And the thing about the escape room was they open at 10, but the first, like, adventure doesn't happen until 10:30. Right. So we called up and we made a reservation for the family to do the Hollywood premiere escape room.
And it was just going to be the four of you, right?
And we just wanted it to be us, right?
Okay,
and they're like, okay, but there is a chance if other people come in that they will join you, right? Because the maximum is 8. You guys have hit the minimum, but the maximum is 8. So if other people come in before the 10:30 start and want to do that room, they'll be joining you. Now that sounds unappealing to me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Always. It's one of the biggest things that turns me off to escape rooms all the time is that we cannot make them just the three of us out here, where like the family wants to go do them, but we know for a fact that we probably won't hit a minimum unless we want to pay an exorbitant amount of money each person, and then on top of that, they're probably going to shove a bunch of people and we don't know with us. What is the point?
Yeah, exactly. Like this is not team building with strangers. This is our team seeing if we can beat you stupid puzzles.
I want to be super shitty to my own family, thank you, not to strangers.
Yeah. So we get there at 10:15, and we're like, we have a reservation at 10:30, and they're like, well, we have to wait, and we're like, okay, but here's the deal: if other people come in and want to do that room, we're leaving. Like, escape from that escape room company.
You twisted it on them.
And they're like, all right, so why don't you come on down and we'll get started? Because, like, it's true, right? Like, it's like, first of all, the fact that my sister and mother took the time to find a place that had it early morning, because I didn't want to do it at night. Like, right. I wanted, like, I'm like, this escape room thing is essentially no, that's not why. It's essentially a joke. This is essentially a joke thing for my birthday. I don't want it to be, like, the thing I'm looking forward to all night. Mm-hmm. I want it to be, one of the first things I do, and then I have a whole day to forget about it. If it's awful.
Your commitment to a bit is astounding, by the way.
Oh, dude, come on, we covered this. We covered this. And so we go and they let us in, and it was really cool. We were Ghostbusters, which they change it every 12 weeks. So, like, our characters were Ghostbusters, and we had to track down a ghost. I'm sure I could tell you all the answers to the puzzles. I won't, though. I will maintain the integrity. But, like, I will say this, because, you know, it's an interesting critique on this particular escape room. In the room, there are 2 levels of puzzles. So you have the level 2, and if you solve that and you have time left, you can attempt the level 4 puzzle.
Cool. So
we go through the level 2 stuff, and we finish it with about 20 minutes left, right?
Fantastic.
So, like, we're like, oh, we're going to do the level 4. The level 4, like, you think it's going to be, like, as in-depth as that first one. It's not. Really, it was 2 puzzles that we had to solve, right? Yeah. But the final puzzle, we did not finish it in time, right? Spoilers for the escape room experience of the Deckers on Devin Decker's 33rd birthday.
Shit, but I was going to watch that on DVD when it came
out.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Ruined it.
We did not finish the second one in time, but I feel like that's because that final puzzle was not on theme with the rest of the room.
Well, they probably never expected anybody to get to it, so it's scrambled at the last second to throw something at you.
Because everything else was, like, real in-depth stuff. Like, we needed to know the release years of the original Frankenstein and the original Phantom of the Opera. Like, those were codes to open locks.
Oh, man.
So, like, and, like, the whole thing was, like, actually knowing things about movies. Like, the fact that we're a movie family helped us out. And then the last one was a riddle that, like, they couldn't even put, like, baseball movie. The answer was baseball. Spoilers.
A riddle, you say? Really?
And it's like his favorite character is the riddle. See if you can solve this. And it's like it's not even like they put in like, are you a natural? Can
Oh
you
God.
field your dreams? It's like it was so off brand to like just give us a riddle that had nothing to do with movies. like, it's like there are movie riddles, right?
Oh my God.
So that was a little odd. But you know, we solved everything up to that point. We still got like our picture posted on their thing for solving the first level of it. And then we were at the last thing and she's like, I can tell you so you can see what happens when you solve it. It's not that great. So she's like,
This sounds like a fantastic escape room, by the way. This company, wherever it was,
dude, I gotta. Well,
sounds
they're in the
just
they're in the
sublime.
process of rebranding themselves, so I actually don't feel too bad. I won't say their name, but like, also you gotta consider it's 10:30 on a Friday.
Yeah.
Like they usually, that girl probably has that shift so that she can recover from her drinking the Thursday before.
Yeah.
They're
right.
located in a mall. Like, and really, like, the scariest part of the escape room is, like, they've put up, like, you know, sheetrock walls, and you walk down this corridor of all the escape rooms, and it's like, this is scary.
Dude, this
Like,
is
this
creepy.
this is like The Shining or Being Erica type level,
Oh
like,
man.
visuals.
Oh God.
So we do this escape room and we finish, and then we do some shopping because we're at the mall, and then we go get dinner because the movie doesn't show until 1:50. So we get lunch at Harry's Burger Bar, which I'm a huge fan of Harry's Burger Bar. I'll bring them up all the time. And they have these boots, these 68-ounce boots of beer.
Oh no. Oh God.
And before, they required that you got Old Speckled Hen. But I guess they
Jeez.
realized that, like, people aren't
They were-
big fans of Old Speckled Hen.
Also, man, you could be killing somebody with that much. And what is it? A 64-ounce boot?
68 ounces,
So, yeah. Okay.
right? I've done
Drink up.
two. I've done two boots of speckled hen in my life. Like this was not like the first time I've done a boot, but
Well,
now you
there
can
are
get.
two kinds of people in the world. There are the kinds of people that can't get through that, and there are the kinds of people where they're going to live to be 100 on just that and bacon grease. So
Isn't that nice? Look at me being the latter. But now you can put like an assortment in it, and one of them is Bud Light, and it's like, and the boot's like only $15 when you get Bud Light in it.
oh my
So it's
God.
like, yeah, I'll do that. And Dale's like, oh, I've always wanted to do a boot. So I'm like, it's my birthday. You're doing it. Make it two. So they bring the boot over. And
Just
I,
both Bud Lights, both of you.
yep, two Bud Light boots. And if I'm the latter, Dale is the former.
Oh God.
She got
Well, I
through
will
it.
say though, Bud Light's a good choice because basically you're getting something that tastes like a boot in a boot. So
Oh, dude, well, that's why I did it too. And I'm like, you know, because the thing is that if you can quaff that much, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yeah.
big fan of Old Speckled Hen, to be completely honest with you. I think it's a
Right.
little bitterer than like other things. And then the other choices, I'm like, I like it, but I wouldn't want to have 68 ounces of it.
nor pay that much for all of that, right? Yeah.
Like, so it's like, so Bud Light, it's cool because like you can say I drank from a boot on my birthday, but also I didn't break the bank. So Dale gets through her boot, right? And it was good.
Good
like,
for her.
Good for her, right?
Congrats,
and then,
Dale.
And then we get outside, and she immediately loses her boot.
Oh God. Well,
So
the deck
Dale
of
found
cards.
Dale found a way to escape seeing Escape Room.
Really, that was the trick all along. Congratulations, you both won Escape Room the movie.
But that's the thing is that like I still wanted to see the movie, right? Because it's like a commitment to the bit. I
Yeah.
never did. I had so much time this weekend, and I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And then like, and that's that movie, right? It's a PG-13 horror movie based on something that before Friday I had an idea about, and after Friday I would probably do another escape room. I will admit that to you right here. But like, it's gonna be about 3 or 4 months before I do another escape room. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna be one of these people who does it every weekend.
Well, and the other thing is like you've got a nice little built-in team with your family, but I do feel like one of the big things about escape rooms is you got to get your team together, right? And so it's also trying to organize that. right? It's not just I need some time from this. It's also on top of that, you're like, also I don't know the next time I'm going to be able to get these 5 or 6 friends of mine together.
Oh,
That's the
I
big
bet
thing
I
about
could.
escape
I bet
rooms
I
for
could
me.
go with the gang this weekend.
Yeah.
Because everyone in the gang was like, "Oh, so you did an escape room for your birthday?" Because I ended up seeing the gang later on that night.
Oh
I
God.
didn't
No,
think
no,
that was
no.
going to happen.
Nope. If they're excited about it, you do not want to bring them to the escape room. You don't want to be in the room with somebody that's happy to be there. That's not the point.
Yeah, because they won't want to. No, no. I mean, that's not the thing. It's really just what. It wasn't like excitement. It was like I've always kind of wanted to do it, but like, and I'm like, yeah, no, we could do it if we wanted to.
Well, then you do this the right way, Devin. You wait until escape room is at the $2 cinema in East Providence, and then you go back to the same shitty escape room, and then go to the shitty theater to see the shitty movie, and you will be golden.
That
On
sounds.
not your birthday.
That sounds like a crazy plan. I like this plan. I'll float it past the gang. But then that was a nice surprise getting to see them on my birthday. Because like only one member's like, hey, you want to come over? We can hang out. And then I get there, it's like all your buddies are coming, and I'm like, oh, my buddies are gonna be here.
Friendos,
It
yeah.
was fun.
It's
It was
nice,
a good
right?
night. Yeah. So that was fun. But like talking about cinema, it's like the only movie in 2019 that you have even had the opportunity to get excited about. I couldn't bring myself to go to the theater.
Is Baby Saw? Yeah, I know. It's
Well,
not really.
it actually feels more like Cube. You remember Cube?
Okay. Honestly, if they were actually more in line with like Cube, I'd be all about it. But I think even the creators of this movie have been pretty adamant about like, we love Saw. We just wanted to make something like that.
Oh, that's such. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't go see this movie because I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh my god, it's like Cube, but like under the guise of escape room stupidity. I'm like, that's cool. Like that is cool because I love Cube. I mean, I think you have to have worked at a Blockbuster between 2001 and 2005 to even know what Cube is.
I like the difference between Cube and Saw, right? If we were talking like on an ethereal level, is like the atmosphere. I think Cube is a much more enjoyable rewatch of a movie. I think any of the Saw movies are hard to go back to, not just because of the gore, but also just because they are just depressing as fuck on top of it. And I think that's the thing that I'm, I guess, worried about. I wouldn't say I haven't really given much thought to Escape Room, but the thing that I would be concerned about with Escape Room is that it wouldn't have any of like the fun atmosphere that Cube has. Like it's a scary movie, but like at the end of the day, like you clearly are watching a movie and enjoying yourself because it was at 86, 87, right?
Cube?
Yeah, or is that one of the early
90s
90s ones?
I think it's the 90s.
It might be one of the early
like
90s ones.
96.
Yeah, I know there's like also like 2 or 3 sequels.
Yeah,
to that
then
movie too,
then Hypercube came out in 2004.
right.
No, 2003, and then Cube Zero came out by the time I was working at Hollywood Video, so like 2006, 2007.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess like yeah, but that's why I compared the Escape Room trailer to Cube and not to Saw, is because there's this weird level of camaraderie in Cube that I love.
Yeah.
And it looks like in Escape Room, they're kind of going for that. And that, like, because of this ragtag group of people, each of them will have a skill to get them through. So it's not it's about working together. It's not just about survival.
I don't have that much faith in that movie.
Oh,
but,
I mean, yeah.
you know, more power to it. If it actually pulls that off, that's awesome.
Well,
but
I
think it's a much more depressing.
First of all, I'm probably never gonna see Escape Room, right? Like, I didn't see it on my birthday. It's probably not gonna happen. Yeah. But the fact that you mentioned that they're huge fans of Saw leads me to believe that they've probably never seen Cube, or if they have, it was like those nights when we would get together, rent some movie, and it would be more about us talking over the film than watching the film. Yeah,
they're aware of it. They're just not. Yeah, I mean, they, like I said, more power to them if it is actually more in that vein of like I don't want to say heartfelt, but if there is a little bit of heart behind it, it's a much better horror experience for me. You know.
I get that. I completely agree too. That's a really good point that you just made.
Yeah.
But then talking about other movies to get excited about, and also relating to my birthday, because I mean that's not the plan for this week's episode, but it just happens to happen the way that it is. Coming out this week, this
We're
Friday.
Glenn Close in it.
What?
We're Glenn Close in it. We got this.
Thank you for reminding me of my own bits. This Friday comes out The Upside, with Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, this is the one where he's like the paraplegic or the
He's a
quadriplegic,
paraplegic.
and Kevin Hart is his like
His
his
nurse.
buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. So a year ago on my birthday, that movie is based on. It says based on a true story, but what it should say is based on a foreign film.
Okay.
Because that is based on a film called The Untouchables that came out, I want to say like 2011. It came out.
Intouchables?
Intouchables, yes.
Okay.
And that's
just clarifying.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I believe that has to do with the fact that it's a French translation to English because it's a French film. It's where I was introduced to Omar Sy. And I feel like it's where the world was introduced to him too. But like I say Omar Sy, do you know who Omar Sy is?
Not a clue.
Yeah, okay. He was the guy who sabotaged Bradley Cooper's restaurant in Burnt.
Oh, weird reference, but got it. Okay.
Yeah, he did not Wheelie, Hot Rod in Transformers: The Last Night. He was the voice of Hot Rod. And then like
Fantastic.
maybe the one that people would actually know him from, he is Chris Pratt's assistant in Jurassic World, who ends up eaten by the raptors. I love him. And I love him because I have seen The Untouchables. And the only reason I've seen The Untouchables is because remember when Walk the Moon came out with Shut Up and Dance?
Oh man,
And
yes.
there was that compilation of all the dance scenes from movies to it. That is awesome. That is still awesome.
Yeah, fantastic music video.
That came out right as I had to do my 365 movies. I didn't have to do them, as I decided to watch 365 movies in 365 days. So, like, that became this, like, roadmap for me on like, movies to watch. And the only one I didn't recognize was a scene from The Untouchables. So I did my due diligence, and I searched the internet until I could find the movie, and then I bought that movie on DVD, knowing nothing about it other than the fact that there's this one dance scene that the people who made this video deemed important enough to include.
Right. Yeah, man.
And
that's awesome. That's a fantastic way to find a movie.
Yes.
Like that's so good.
And it was this movie that, like, I tried to get my family to watch with me, and they're like, no, like, we're not interested in reading a movie, especially you don't know anything about it. So it is a movie that I sat down and watched on my own and immediately fell in love with. So then, 2 years later, I own a copy of it now, right? And it's my birthday, and I'm like, look, we're snowed in because it's a blizzard. We're all in this house. We're watching The Untouchables. That's what I want for my birthday. I don't need anything else from you. We all are going to sit down and watch this movie. It's not like I'm asking you to watch Hackers. So they all agree. We bop some popcorn. We sit down and we watch it. And everybody loves this movie. Because it's a great story. And it's so well done. It's well acted. It's a great movie. It's honestly a great film. And one of the main reasons I did that is because I knew that the upside was coming.
Yeah.
I knew that it was coming. And I'm like, I need to make sure that they see it before this film comes out. Because I want them to be aware of what the original was.
Yeah. I get that.
And then one of the things is that my mother, like, really got into the story. And it turns out that The Untouchables, making it this relationship between, like, an urban black Frenchman and, like, a rich white guy, that was fantasy for the cinema. Because it was a Muslim nurse and this rich white French guy. So like the fact that the American remake of this film
it doesn't
is Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. And
Yeah.
it's like, so you're basing it more on Omar Sy, and I wish I could remember the guy who plays the paraplegic in The Untouchables. The fact that, like, they're Brian songing it, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes it more special, to quote Family Guy.
Yes. For an American audience, for sure. Oh man.
And it's just like, and like, this is a movie that, like, I thought I might be excited about seeing just because of that. Like, I saw the remake of Death at a Funeral out
Right.
of the morbid curiosity
Yeah.
of like how you going to do this, and I feel like they really missed an opportunity with that remake because instead of having it as a remake, you have it as a weird sequel where Peter Dinklage is the same character.
Plays essentially the same character in this other guy's story.
And
That
it's like it's not in this other guy's story. It's the fact that like this is what he does.
yeah,
He
yeah,
goes
yeah.
around and finds these old men and claims to like be their lover.
Oh God.
It's like this would be awesome. Like then you've added this continuity. You've made it fun for the few people who are like, yeah, I guess I'll go see a remake that's blaxploitative, right? Like yeah, man, I saw, Love Don't Cost a Thing and Can't Buy Me Love.
Oh my God. Look, I can't get on a Neil LaBute rant.
No.
today,
I understand that.
but,
I understand that, but yeah, it's very, and that's the other thing is that it's Neil LaBute too, and I'm like, I hate that guy. I can't believe you're going from Frank Oz to Neil LaBute. That's basically going from like Jesus to Satan.
I think that's an unfair assessment of Satan, my friend. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying, it's pretty like Superman to Lex Luthor. Is that better? I feel like that's unfair to Lex Luthor.
Yeah, man.
There is no greater evil in this world than Neil LaBute.
It's like going from an Aaron Sorkin script to a Brett Ratner script.
Ooh. I'd even go Michael Bay. But
Ooh.
yeah, right? But like that's just like the fact of it. So like there's this curiosity for me of like I'm interested on what things they change about this movie that I absolutely love, but it's a foreign film. So like people in America are not going to see it. Even though it was nominated, I don't think it won an Oscar for best foreign film that year.
Right.
And then like I see the marketing and I'm like, "Oh no." Like I 100% disagree with a lot of the changes you've made just in the trailers.
Well, you get somebody like Kevin Hart involved and it goes off the rails, right? It becomes his movie in a way that I don't think that story wants to be that.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Well, and also in a lot of ways, like, I don't know. I guess because I didn't know either of the actors when I saw it, I didn't bring in any baggage. Mm-hmm. Like, Bryan Cranston is another role that, like, brings baggage with it. And also the fact that, like, Nicole Kidman plays the other caretaker or, like, the head of his estate. Like, that's a relatively small role in the original.
Well,
but,
it
like,
might
if it's
still
Nicole
be.
Kidman.
Nicole Kidman's very much in a place in her career, though, where, like, small 2-3 scene roles are really kind of her bag right now.
She also produced it, too. So, like, that could just be, like, her author, her, like, producer insert role. But it does feel like they're selling it on Nicole Kidman, Bryan Cranston, and Kevin Hart.
Oh, and legitimately, if she walks into a room as the producer saying, I want to make this movie, and they say, well, who's going to be in it? If she could say right then and there, well, I'll take a role, right? Like, that'll definitely help the movie get made.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's also some of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you get a guy like Kevin Hart has a personality. And, like, you know, for good or for ill, I actually don't mind Kevin Hart at all in things like Jumanji and even Night School, for a weird reference back to that. Because it was him and Tiffany Haddish in that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like he's got his place in this world. I got no problem with Kevin Hart. It's just that story just seems to be a very interesting move for him. If he's gonna try and go the more, you know, still a comedy but like a dramedy role. Like if he's gonna try and go that way, it's gonna be a very interesting move for somebody like Kevin Hart because that is not his bag yet, and people have pulled that off before. So like. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, it definitely gives me a little bit of concern.
So, like, I was about to say, whereas The Untouchables nominated for Best Foreign Feature, that's probably not going to happen for The Upside because it's getting released in January. But then I'm wondering if this film was played in LA and New York to be eligible for an Oscar. And if this film may have been Oscar bait, and like when they announced the nominees, this film could be one of them.
I mean, who knows? As we talked about earlier in this episode, this award season is just going to be a friggin' wreck this year, I think. Like, a beautiful wreck, one to watch for sure. Like, I'm not even saying ignore it. Like, just, I at this point am not going to be surprised by anything that happens.
Yeah,
If we
but like,
see Kevin Hart up for a supporting Oscar nom,
dude, like even if anything from the Upside gets nominated, I'd be really surprised. And it's
hmm
just one of those things where I'm like, I'm kind of your built-in audience, right? I
hmm
love film, I love this type of stuff, I love it, and like, I was talking to myself this morning about like, I don't know if I'm gonna see it though. Like,
yeah,
it just seems like too much because of just what cinema and film has become in the wake of 2018.
yeah. Yeah, man. 2018 bulldozed a lot of things for us, as like and our people, our people of our communities for sure. I mean, like movies are never going to be the same after 2018. I think that even video games have had a really weird year. We've seen Destiny kind of finally find its footing. So what does that mean? When are we going to start getting the Destiny likes? And we saw all sorts of weird stuff happen with like systems and stuff. This was the first year where we didn't see new systems, but instead reiterations. You know what
Well,
I
that
mean?
was
Like,
a year before. The
but
reboot systems were a year before.
but this is the year where like
Those were the
this
one.
was the yeah they were the ones to get, you know what I
Yeah,
mean, like between the NES coming back and the PlayStation 1 coming back and the like all of that shit on top of you don't get a PS4 anymore. Now you get a PS4 Pro Slim that is like 4K ready, and they're not going to make a PS5 for probably 2 more years, which is fine. I mean, it's a 7 year cycle, but it's just not what anybody was expecting. Xbox is now talking about putting out a system with no disk drive, being a purely digital system from here on out. Whether that is true for the next one or what, but we'll see what happens with that. Like,
I mean,
there's just
Switch
been,
saying that there's going to be a revision in 2019,
yeah,
and it's like, I don't know what it could be. Like on some level, I wish they'd come out with a small one that were more portable.
yeah. And then, like, for me, like, I know that they came out earlier than this, but Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild were both 2018 games for me. Like, that's when I played those games, and like, and in fact, I've actually gone back to both Smash Brothers, right, coming out in at the very end of the year. But like, so this was also the year where the Switch completely proved itself to everybody. Before that, there were definitely the devotees that were all about it, but this was the year where it finally became like, oh no, they're back on top as one of the top three. You couldn't talk about Nintendo in the same sentence as PlayStation and Microsoft before 2018. You just couldn't. You always had to talk about them in their own weird category because they were doing their own thing. But we're out of that now. They're back to being one of the top three.
Yeah.
It's been a really weird year for video games too, right? And then like it's just all around. I mean, I can't even imagine what the next year is going to be like now. So that's part of why I think this award season is just going to be kind of a toss up, is because we've all been thrown for a loop. Nobody knows what's coming, and it could be bad, it could be good, it's going to change cinema. It's going to change pop culture.
The other problem with this award season is that like just when we think we're out, they pull us back in
hmm
because there's going to be a lot of talk. Like that's the one of the worst things about Bohemian Rhapsody winning last night is that it re-energized the whole conversation about Bryan Singer and his
hmm
being replaced and the whole Me Too and Time's Up. And it's like we're in a room of people who are saying this stuff, but then you just awarded his film with accolades.
Yeah.
And like, because that's been a lot of the conversation too.
While also blowing off Black Panther.
Yeah.
I mean, like that also happened. Like I never it's weird to talk about a movie not winning an award being like an offensive thing, because like they were nominated, they were there, and also there was a ton of movies that didn't win. But like in a year when all of this conversation happened, not only did you pick this movie that had a Bryan Singer involvement, but also at the same time snubbed completely this other movie that like it's just it's bad optics.
Yeah. And but that's the thing though, is like I wouldn't want Black Panther to win just for the optics though.
Well, right,
And that
right. That's
and
why it
that's
becomes a really weird, hard conversation, right? It's just this really weird place that we're going to have to be in over the next 2 months, because the same thing's going to happen with the Oscars. If it's not one thing, it's going to be another thing that we're going to have to point at and be like, so where, like, for the big thing with all the Golden Globe noms was like, where's all the women at, right? Like, it was just, it was a very, it's a no-win situation, which is why there's a good chance of everything just burning to the ground this year, and I'm worried.
And it's just like 2019 is supposed to be full of hope, and then right off the bat, you have these reminders of just how hopeless things were last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, sitting in the middle of a government shutdown when we're sitting here watching the Golden Globes last night, right? Like, it's kind of hard to see where this year's going to go right now.
Yeah. Forgot the government was shut down.
Because, yeah. I mean, starting this week, this will be the week, just to completely timestamp this episode as we talk about the Golden Globes and everything, but this will also be the week where the first round of paychecks won't be doled out because of the government shutdown. Like, this is when it's going to start hitting people. So buckle your seatbelts, everybody, because the next month or two is going to be weird and rocky.
Yeah. Jeez, yeah, you're right. Oh, wow. Oh, that just all collapsed down upon me. I was all in birthday optimism, and then there comes Johnny Siege Injustice. No, I don't.
But that's just it, right? We're not in a place where things are bad. We're still in a place, we're stalled. We're stuck in this place where we're still talking and we're not doing things yet. And part of that is because we're not even 2 weeks into this year yet. We are literally 1 week into this year on the 7th of January.
We're not even 1 week into this year. We're in 1 week tomorrow.
Right. So like we're just in a weird place where this year hasn't quite started yet and nobody knows how to feel about it. And I think that's going to persist for a couple of months. I think we're not going to know how to feel about 2019 for a while. And considering the way the last 3 or 4 years have gone for a lot of people, it's going to be hard for people in this stalled moment to have any hope of it being any better. I do, but I've got nothing to base that on.
Right.
I
mean, I do too. But that's just because I feel better. Like, I've made moves in my life to feel more positive and remove negativity. But you're right. That's acting locally. That's not having a global effect, unfortunately. As much as I wish it did.
Yeah.
This went off the rail a little bit.
Good karma spreads itself around, though,
true.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is so people just need to do something good. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. And if everybody out there just does a little bit of something good, 2019 is not going to start off that bad. So let's fingers crossed and see what we can do. But unfortunately, I think what the big thing that I'm starting to realize in this moment as we talk about this is that the only way that 2019 is going to be a good year is if we just make it one.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fact of the matter, is that we all need to work together to make this a better year and to get past all of these hurdles that are being thrown at us by the universe, whether it be, in the form of our government being shut down at the hands of a president who doesn't seem to want to negotiate that.
Yep. Yep. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about that comment. Yep.
Yeah, that's. I could cite other things, but no, that's kind of the big one. Is I don't know how you negotiate. It's something that we discussed before, where it's this is a win to him. He doesn't view this as a loss.
Exactly.
And how do you fight someone who looks at winning who looks at losing as winning?
Yeah. Interesting that we said this. Let's turn this into a really interesting conversation for the last bit of the show today. I had an interesting article pop up in front of me the other day, and I have not yet seen Aquaman. I will openly admit that before we have this conversation, so I'm not coming from a place of seeing
Aquaman. Jesus.
I know how adamant you are about it. I'll be honest. A lot of people around here have not enjoyed it, so nobody wants to go with me to go see it.
Just go alone, Siege, and you're an adult. You're an adult male. You're not going to get taken by a ghost.
That has nothing to do with going to the movies. Going to the movies is a communal experience for me. I understand that's not the case for everybody.
The community is the other people in the theater.
But that's just it. That's what I'm saying. Is there's no.
Oh, you think you're going to be alone in the theater?
Yeah.
That sounds like heaven.
Considering the way that things have been around here. And we talk about big action, geeky, nerdy movies like this. I'd much rather go with an audience that wants to be there than an audience that's half full of people that aren't even sure they want to be there. That doesn't sound enticing to me. But take that aside.
That sounds awful.
The conversation that this article put forth was the idea that Aquaman actually did something, quote unquote, better. I'm not saying this. They said this, better than Black Panther, because in their ending, they allowed their villain, and this is going to be spoilers, I guess, for both Black Panther and Aquaman, but essentially they give him a moment of possible redemption. The idea that he is now in a position to come back and possibly be redeemed. Whereas Black Panther, and again, the article said this, they tried to blame Black Panther for killing off Killmonger and saying he kills him in the end and doesn't give him the chance at redemption.
That article is fucking wrong.
That article is
because
wrong, right?
he gives him a choice.
Totally gives him
and
a choice.
Killmonger's response is, literally, if I were making a list of quotes from 2018, from list of quotes, the number one quote would be, "It's better to die with freedom than live in bondage."
Yeah, I know. So right off the bat, the article completely was just completely off base. But it did get me thinking a little bit about the idea that we had a bookend of films this year. Essentially, Aquaman at the end of the year and Black Panther at the beginning of the year. These two big superhero films that, actually, no matter what people have been saying around here locally about Aquaman, it's hard to deny that it has pretty much set the precedent for the rest of the DC universe, right? In a way that not even Wonder Woman could have, because of the amount of money that it has made alone, right? So just the purely cynical side of me is like, well, they're going to base everything on Aquaman now because of the money that they made.
And again, I don't think that's wrong. I think that as much as I like Wonder Woman, I feel like there were some narrative issues that there would not be an Aquaman without a Wonder Woman, is the important thing to say.
Right.
But because of some missteps with Wonder Woman, I think that Ares was a bit of a wrong choice as a villain. I think that they should have gone with someone a little bit more, thunderous, right? And I think that they should have brought him in earlier into film, as opposed to third act, this is your guy.
Yeah.
Aquaman
I don't agree, but I hear what you're saying.
No, okay, but I'm just saying, I think Aquaman learned from personal missteps with that movie to be what it is. You wouldn't have Aquaman if you didn't have Wonder Woman and Justice League. I think the ones before it, we really don't enact on the conversation at all. These people are Aquaman's what happens when you let people have fun in your DC movies. Suicide Squad is a lot of fun. For what missteps it does make, Suicide Squad is fun. I laugh about Suicide Squad.
I could watch Suicide Squad again and enjoy myself. As dumb as that movie is, it's like watching Batman Forever for me. That's what it is.
The only issue is they completely dropped the ball with Slipknot callbacks. Because let's be honest, a lot of that movie would have been made easier if you had a guy who was super good at climbing. The fact that Harley doesn't ever say you know who'd be good right now? A guy who had rope.
Yeah, right.
or that's or even if someone's I miss Slipknot. It's just that's it. Suicide Squad is fun. It's not fun enough for what it was, but that is, if I had to talk about the greatest cinema sin of Suicide Squad, is the fact that there's no callback to Slipknot, even though it's ripe with possibilities for it, and all of these people are cynical, sarcastic villains.
Right. Jesus.
Sorry, I derailed you.
No. So there's this idea that but we saw two completely different endings, right? We saw this idea of redemption being offered in both, and in one of them, this person deciding not to take it, and in the other one, this person deciding to. And it's really, really interesting to me that conversation, especially when you consider that the ones that DC and Marvel flipped the script. You would expect the DC movie, after seeing the depressing things that happened in the Dark Knight universe, and then everything that kind of dictated for the rest of the DC universe up until now. Even Wonder Woman definitely is gray toned, hard hitting emotionally and all this sort of stuff. So the fact that Aquaman is the one that actually ends with almost a hopeful ending is very interesting to me, and it shows to me DC learning. Like you were saying, Aquaman has learned from its past mistakes in the DC universe, and so that's fantastic. And then you have Black Panther, where I don't think that they're opposing forces in any way. I think what happens with Black Panther is that Marvel finally earned a death of one of their villains. You know, it's the first time that we saw a villain get killed as a villain, where I felt like this was leading. They did such a good job building to this, like narratively, character-wise, everything building to this moment. This makes sense. You know, it's one of the biggest things that disappointed me about Iron Man. First, when we finally saw it, I admitted even then, despite the fact I saw that movie 5 times in theaters, that the final act of that movie was just a mess. And what happens to Obadiah Stane in that movie is just he's wasted. And like he would have been such a great character to keep around for Tony Stark. Can you imagine if we still had that character with like conversing with Tony in some way?
No.
And what that would have meant?
Can you imagine if you still had that character to join up with Justin Hammer? To join up and then they're the joint people behind Extremis. Or
Right.
like you have them working like they become the MCU's version of Advanced Idea Mechanics. They're available. Like the way that Marvel treated earlier villains is the reason why Zemo becomes the character that he is in Civil War, but doesn't get to create a Masters of Evil.
Yeah.
Like imagine it like if in Civil War you got to have like those moments where like he goes to Obadiah Stane and he's like, you worked with him, right? How can I hurt him?
Right. Right. I mean, even if he's just in prison, like right, just keeping the character around would have been, so it's the first time that I feel like you have a really well-earned villain death versus what happens in Aquaman, where they have finally realized that, you know, we need to build some sense of like progress in these movies. Like we can't keep ending these movies on downer notes. Like we just can't. You know, the closest they had gotten before this was Wonder Woman's ending, where she basically was like, I know all of my friends are dead, but I still have hope. And it's like, well, that's great, Amazonian, but what about the rest of us? You just showed us that as men in this world, as humans, not men, as humans in this world, we basically are just fodder for gods. That's basically what you showed us, which is, to be fair, the entire point then of like Justice League and Batman v Superman and all that stuff. So it fits in with the narrative that DC was telling. It's just that sucks that that's the narrative that they were choosing. So it's really cool to see that they moved away from that.
Yeah,
but I just thought it was really interesting that this article missed the mark. But no, it's just interesting that this article, as much as it missed the mark and what it was actually trying to say, did actually have a weird point in comparing those two movies.
Yeah, but I mean, keeping Lex Luthor alive and the work they've done to him, like trying to build his Legion of Doom.
Oh yeah, but there's no redemption there, right?
No, there's no redemption there, but like that's not the point. It's also the fact that I mean, I feel like the fact that villains die stems 100% from Batman 89. The fact that they kill the Joker at the end of Batman 89.
Sure.
What a fucking mistake that was.
No. In retrospect, you got to remember in the moment what people thought that movie was going to be.
No.
Right?
I understand that. But the only reason that I say that it was a mistake is because that became the precedent for every superhero movie going forward.
I think it would have been a better move. With hindsight, I think it would have been a better move to have him die in that movie, but still have him come back, because that's just what the Joker does.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like I think the bigger thing was everybody taking that death, that on-screen death, as permanent, which was a mistake.
Right.
But,
which is why Ninja Turtles, they show the Shredder die. And you're like, oh, that sucks, right? Because the Shredder's dead. And then the fact that he is alive in the second movie is awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's legitimately awesome.
He just shows up, and you don't care.
You're not like, this is stupid that the Shredder survived that. You're just like, and like he's worse for the wear. Like getting crushed in a garbage truck weighed on him.
Yeah.
Like, he knows that he can't take them down. That's why he needs Toka and Razar. That's a more compelling story than if the second movie had, I don't know, used one of the, like, lesser villains from the original comic books.
Or if they had, like, gone back in time and found some other villain.
Yeah. You know what the only thing about that is? Totally has basis in the comics.
Well, of course.
Like that, it's like one of those things where I'm like, I don't love it, but I don't really love it at all. But 46 and 47 of the first volume of Mirage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. I believe, I don't know if Jim Lawson or Michael Dooney wrote it. One of their guys wrote that story though, and it was completely like accepted by them, and it is 100% what happens in the third movie.
Yeah.
But like good, because it doesn't need to be sanitized for children. Like there's another mutant that is created by the time sorcerer Savante Romero.
Right.
So that's awesome. And then like the thing that's really great about those books, right? I love this. I love the comic book story of this so much that I will reference it and I will share it, is the fact that Raphael starts the Foot Clan while he is in the past.
Right. Whoops.
Like it's just like one of those cool things about like the fearful symmetry of time travel.
Well, and it explains why the Foot Clan symbol actually looks like one of their feet, isn't it? Isn't that like one of the big like things? Like
well, I mean, it still has the 5 toes, or it might have 4, but it's the fact that
no, it's got the 2. I thought I might be thinking of the animated series one where they've got like a goofier version of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're thinking of the third one, not the third one, the 2003 series, where the Foot Clan symbol is essentially their foot with an extra toe in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of would look like their foot closed. It actually kind of looks like their hand, right? With the 3 that way.
Right. Yeah.
It's like but it's like this cool thing where I 100% believe with how much they borrowed from the original Mirage comics that they might have even gone down that pathway if they hadn't turned it into fast forward.
Right.
But it's just like one of those things where it's like, no, time travel would have worked if they had done it correctly. But the only reason I invoked the Holy Trinity of the Ninja Turtles, the Holy Quadranity of the Ninja Turtles, is to bring up the fact that you're right. Like, we watched the Shredder die in 1990, and nobody was upset when he came back in 92. They could have done the same thing with the Joker.
Well, and the same with the Turtles. It would have narratively made perfect sense. There's plenty of times when the Joker gets killed in front of Batman and then miraculously is somehow back the next week.
Right.
It's like part of his character. But yeah, so like but you're not wrong. Like the second that they do that, right, and then every movie after that, they basically have to work through like this like cavalcade of just villains, and. It sucks that is something that is still in the water up till now, except now maybe it's not,
Well, I think that with Marvel and what they've done, they've really been able to move away from that so that you can see that actions have consequences.
Well, and part of that is the money. When your best character in your universe is Loki, you can't kill him off. I mean, even now they're talking about how there's definitely scenes of him coming up in Endgame. So we'll see Loki again.
Yes, and that's like a real true statement. But it's like it is one of those things where like it sucks that in the first Spider-Man they kill the Green Goblin.
Yes,
they do a really good job. Like that scene. The reason why I like Spider-Man 2 is that final scene where Harry finds a Goblin cave and Willem Dafoe shows up in the mirror. Like that would have been really cool if they had somehow maintained that into the third one. If they didn't try to like please everybody with the third movie, that could have been a really cool thing. But also it sucks that they killed Dr. Octopus.
Yep.
And like another big issue with this is, and this is 100% the production side of it, it's the reason why like superheroes for a long time couldn't keep their fucking masks on.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to be seen. Like they want, like, on the one hand, they want that recognizable of like, this is Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. This is Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Like, people want to see that. They don't want to see a mask the whole film. But then on the other hand, it's the actor saying...
What's the longest that an Iron Man mask survives? Like, every time he puts a mask on, within 20 minutes, half of it's broken off and you're seeing his face.
Exactly. And it's also the thing that, like, the actors are like, I want to be acting. I want the recognition for what I'm doing. So it's like, that's a weird thing that also added into it. Like, the fact that Hawkeye never wears a Hawkeye hood is like 100% because, we want him to be seen. But then an unfortunate side effect of that is if that, like, a secret identity means frigging nothing to superheroes, is the fact that you need to kill off the villains, because what if every villain knew?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Dr. Octopus would get on fucking Twitter and be like, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Hashtag the Sinister Six. Like,
oh,
and
man.
everyone would know, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a
Yeah.
reason why, I mean, arguably Spider-Man 2, he has a nice redemption and then he dies.
Yeah.
Like, there's that whole thing where, like, he sacrifices himself, so it kind of works on that level. But I don't know. It's just.
But that's what makes Spider-Man 2 the superior film out of those three, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's the superior Spider-Man, and not just because Doc Ock is there, dude.
There you go.
Dude.
All right. See, but this is what gives me hope, going forward with as far as our cultural stuff goes. Some of the more political stuff and personal stuff aside, like, the thing that gives me hope about the movies and the video games and the music and all of the TV and this nonsense is the fact that things are looking up. Like, we do have reason to hope there. And if pop culture is where we've always talked about that being where it starts for us, like, then hopefully that hope can come into the rest of our lives.
That's a beautiful thing to say. And before we end the show, I am going to say this. I'm currently playing through Celeste because it was like everybody's favorite game of 2018. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like the art style. Like, that was the thing for me. But I'm currently playing through it. I need to finish it before 9:30 p.m. on Thursday.
Okay.
So look forward to Devin Decker talking about Celeste next week on the Say Report. Do you want to tease anything?
No, I'm super excited to hear you talk about Celeste.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So until next time, the guy who's going to be talking about Celeste next week, if you want to get in touch with him and yell at him for, like, waiting so long to play it, or really about anything, if you want to talk to me about the Untouchables, I'd love to hear from you at Devin D. Decker on Twitter.
And I cannot hear Untouchables every time you say that, and I just want to do a bad Sean Connery impression. No, you can get in touch with me and give me your best Sean Connery impression at Siege versus the World.
And until next time, Will, leave them shaking, not scared.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Stephen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.